We are going to be covering Myanmar today and the crisis with the Rohingya Muslims. Okay, it's kind of difficult to pronounce issues. We need to get into a little bit of background on the country of Myanmar, which we're going to do. So we will start off. Let's start Myanmar. Comment. Okay. Myanmar is a country just to the east of India and Bangladesh. All right, just for reference, this is where we're talking about. We have India right here. We've been talking obviously a lot about the Mediterranean Sea in World War II. United States over here, Europe over here, India here, and then just to the east of India we have Myanmar. So what's important to understand about Myanmar is that most people there are Buddhists. They follow the Buddhist religion. It's not really important the religious ideals. This is really just more about groups identifying as in-groups and out-groups. Groups identifying as people that are like us and people that are identifying as people that are not like us. But there are many different ethnic groups in Myanmar. There are over 100 different ethnic groups in Myanmar. It is a very diverse country in that sense. However, the vast majority and the culture of the country is Buddhist. There is a group of practicing Muslims called the Rohingya, okay? The Rohingya, R-O-H-I-N-G-Y-A. Because of this, they face intense discrimination, including being denied citizenship, all right? Being denied education, all right? Not being allowed to hold jobs, all right? Not being permitted to move freely in Myanmar. And when you think about something like being denied citizenship, think about all the things you're able to do because you're a United States citizen. You're allowed to be here. You have certain rights under the Constitution. You can't be searched by the police. You can't have your property taken. All of these things apply to you based on you being a citizen. And so when you say that you're not a citizen of some place, you lose a lot of the rights that the people that live in a place like that generally have. In addition, poverty is widespread in Myanmar, which makes competitions for resources intense and further divides these groups. If we have plenty of stuff, it's not that big of a deal, right? But if we have very, very limited supply of things like food and water and housing, then it's going to be more difficult to just freely share these sorts of things with everyone. These tensions date back for a long time. They go all the way back to World War II, when the Rohingya backed the British, who at the time ruled the country, while the Buddhist majority backed the Japanese invaders, hoping that after the war they would have a regime change. They would have the British would be basically expelled from the country. So that would have been in the 1930s and 1940s. In 1962, Myanmar was taken over in a military coup, an overthrow of the government. They got rid of their constitution and established, hopefully remember this from first quarter, a military junta, which is a ruling of a country by a small group of military leaders. The junta created a fierce nationalism based on the country's Buddhist identity. So they are creating a culture that is saying we are Buddhists and this is important, and there are a lot of national pride around that. Think about all of the national pride that we have around being American and home of the land of the free and home of the brave, and doing the Pledge of Allegiance every day, and doing the national anthem before sporting events, and all of the American flags you see. American flag, shirts and tattoos and bumper stickers, flags on trucks, these these sorts of things happen everywhere, not just in the United States and Myanmar, in France, in Italy, in England. All around the world we have this idea of creating national identities around ideas. And in this country, the junta created a strong national identity around their Buddhist identity, a strong nationalism around their Buddhist identity. This commonly manifested itself in blaming its problems on the Rohingya, which is the Muslim minority. So in 1972, the government forced about, 200,000 Rohingya out of the country using violent tactics in Operation, what was it? I forget now. It was Operation Dragon King. Thought that was an interesting name. I don't know. Operation Dragon King, basically forcing the Rohingya out of the country. And in 1982, the government passed the Citizenship Act, which gave citizenship to 135 different ethnic groups. It specifically says in this document, like this group, this group, this group, this group, this group gets citizenship in this country. But the Rohingya, with a population of over 1 million people, were not on the list, making them a stateless people. So I know that this is a little strange in the United States. We don't really think of citizenship like this. We have, if you were born here, you have the right to citizenship here, but it's not necessarily like that everywhere. And in Myanmar, we have this situation where they pass a law saying, oh, we have all these people get citizenship, but not the Rohingya. So the Rohingya now are in the country, but they don't have any of the rights that are attached with a citizen of the country, even though maybe they've lived there their whole lives. In other words, they have none of the rights of citizens in Myanmar. Did I spell that wrong? Myanmar? No, I spelled it right. All right. So, getting us to today, in 2017, there's a militant group, a small militant group of Rohingya soldiers that were basically trying to fight back against this. So in 2017, this group is called the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, not related to the Salvation Army in the United States, reportedly attacked police and army groups, killing about 12 police officers. But in response, and we've seen this a couple of times, I think we saw this in Nazi Germany, where like one little thing happens that kicked off the Kristallnacht, the night of the broken glass, where one little thing happens, whatever, it's not a good thing, but one person gets killed, and then the population takes it out on the whole ethnic group and kills or destroys like a ton of people or things from the whole ethnic group because one member of the ethnic group did one bad thing to one person in the majority group. And so we see this again in Myanmar. In response, Myanmar's military launched a brutal campaign and destroyed hundreds of Rohingya villages. And what's striking about this is you can see satellite imagery where there's Rohingya villages that are very close to, did we put it here? Yes, so Rohingya villages that are very close to villages of majority of Buddhist villages. And the Rohingya villages are burned down, but the non-Muslim villages are not. Making it obvious that they are being targeted based on their religion and their ethnic identity, which is the key to what we were talking about when we were talking about a genocide. Within a month, the Myanmar military burned down how many? 288 villages. 288 villages. And killed at least 6,700. At least 6,700 Rohingya. However, nearby Buddhist villages were untouched. Many human rights groups, including the United Nations, believe that the government committed a genocide against the Rohingya. While many Rohingya have fled, and so we have this situation where they are trying to flee to neighboring Bangladesh. Countries have refused to take additional Rohingya refugees. This leaves about 500,000 Rohingya in Myanmar with no ability to get out. They're not citizens there. The neighboring countries are not taking them, and so they are basically stuck in this situation. So we do, hopefully we can see some of our steps here from our steps into genocide, where we are identifying the people as being an out group. We're saying, look, there's the us and the them. We are taking away their rights, not giving them citizenship. We are then preparing and organizing our military in order to basically commit these systematic killings of this group. And then they're going into the villages and killing and murdering, burning down their villages and targeting them specifically based on their religion. So I hope that we are seeing in some of these, in some of our presentations here, some of the patterns where we look at Rwanda, where we look at Iraq, where we look at the Holocaust, and we can hopefully see the patterns emerging with respect to our genocides.